It's been 2 months since I got home from 3 months in South America, backpacking across Peru, Bolivia, and Chile. It's taken me a while to put my thoughts together in a coherent way. The small thrills of connecting with strangers through language, the desire to disappear, chase high-altitude hiking in hidden corners of the world, and continually reinvent myself for the last decade until I've lost the threads of who I am, led to this trip. Also, as travel for family, holidays, bachelorette parties, and weddings loom before my late 20s, I wanted to do one last trip truly just for myself. I packed 3 months of my life into a personal item, which was simultaneously freeing and suffocating, and flew to La Paz to meet Alex and Clayton for a week and a half before solo traveling. Watching the city light up at night from the Teleferico was magical, thousands of lights climbing every hillside of the bowl it sits in, and my own breath short from being 13,000 feet above sea level. I'd solo traveled for a week at a time before, but nothing like this. I think I did a decent job not over-romanticizing it beforehand, but I never could have prepared myself for how hard it could be. Not physically, though, that too, but the specific way of having nothing but your own mind for company. No data except a Chinese burner phone with a battery that died at 40%. It was just me and my thoughts 80% of the time. What kept me sane was ritual. Calling friends, making coffee in a mocha pot on a single gas burner, watching the exact moment the coffee climbed and bubbled before it could burn. I, someone who never imagined myself running, began running at sunset and noticed the exact 3 minutes less daylight each evening. What also kept me sane was the power of girlhood. There's something about meeting another solo female traveler where the trust is just there. After a long day traveling from the south of Chiloé Island to the north and missing my last bus, I met Maria and we made dinner together and ate mini market ice cream on a stoop while raspberries stained our fingers. I met Lena and Gina in Huacachina in what I thought would be my last day in Peru, only then deciding to stay another 3 days, going sandboarding, bonding over the strange characters we met, trying and failing at playing pool, volleyball in the dark, and playing Just Dance. Diana, who I had met on a hike to Huacatuyok, where it began hailing while I was wearing shorts and couldn't feel my legs, taught me cumbia dance moves to keep warm. Camilla, Kochi, and I drank mate from the same gourd passed back and forth, the bitter, grassy taste something I had to learn to like and then suddenly did. These are the people who made the trip, but so did the unreal landscapes. The way Huaraz sits with snow-capped peaks, visible from every street corner, completely matter-of-fact, with hundreds of chickens roasting on the sides of the streets. Getting balza and boba in a tiny mountain town because of one of 3 waves of Chinese migration to Peru. A 4-foot, 70-year-old Peruvian woman drinking straight from a glacial stream without breaking stride. Then Chile, from Temuco south, watching the landscape shift from the bus window, dry scrub giving way to temperate rainforest, then Lenca Beach, then open steppe and the wind that comes at you from 4 directions at once. Guanacos appearing on ridgelines, long-necked and completely unbothered. Chilean sea bass flaking apart in thick white layers. The biggest blueberries I've ever eaten, sold in paper bags at the roadside market. Torres del Paine rained on us on the first day, which felt like a bad omen, and then cleared completely. Blue sky, still air, the granite towers appearing and disappearing in light all the way to the end. By the last day, the only thing I had to blame for how hard it was my own body. The joy of solo travel comes from not having to negotiate with anyone else, which sounds like a gift until you realize you have to negotiate constantly with yourself instead. My particular brand of this is an unbreakable stubbornness and a conviction that any distance is walkable. This is how I ended up multiple times climbing dirt roads in full high-altitude sun because Google Maps said the waterfall was only a mile away. Chile is a geographic anomaly, 2,600 miles long while only 100 miles wide. Hitchhiking culture just makes sense there, and so gut instinct as my only filter. Women in the car, elderly, children, any combination. When offered a ride, I accepted. One of those rides was from a couple from Brazil whose son went to University of Michigan. We were in central Patagonia, in the kind of landscape where the road disappears into pampas, grass, and nothing, hundreds of miles from what they call the end of the world. And somehow Ann Arbor came up. These are the moments that make the world feel so small. In my travels in South America, I was struck most by the democratization of transport, organized chaos of worlds existing on WhatsApp, extremes of the natural world, and the incredible hospitality. There's also some things no one tells you about long-term travel: the efficiency trap and nervous system dysregulation. You start optimizing how to see the most for the least, waste no days. A rainy day starts to feel like failure rather than just weather. Travel becomes a checklist. There's the guilt of being in some of the most beautiful places on earth and wanting nothing more than laying in bed and watching TV for a day. After 2 months of a new bed, new altitude, new food, new faces, new sounds outside the window, a million micro decisions to make, the dysregulation of my nervous system crept in. I noticed it first as just bad sleep, then a kind of flatness settling in. I'd arrived somewhere I'd been genuinely excited to see and feel like I was just going through the motions. I began sketching to capture the little details along the way, and I want to bring that quality of attention home. To my friendships, to my family, to the self I've been continuously reinventing and maybe finally am starting to want to keep.